Sports alloys, metallic paint, hands-free multimedia system, 3-door, 9595.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at tomorrow's newspapers with the Labour activist and freelance journalist Dalebercow and the Conservative blogger and LBC radio host Ian Dale. And this half, Sally's going to kick us off with the Times and this ongoing row about Sir Philip Green assisting the government, and now a lot of questions being asked about his tax dealings.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be a rift developing here, and rightly so, between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats are concerned that, or many of the Liberal Democrats are concerned...
Understood to be concerned.
That Sir Philip Green, who has avoided, by handing ownership of his company to his wife, a considerable amount of tax, and probably doesn't use any public services himself, is nevertheless reviewing government efficiency. He's not the ideal person to be reviewing public services.
Oh, for goodness sake.
It is an astonishing story. I mean, I had no idea about this, but that he's handed ownership of all of his business empire, including Topshop, Dorothy Perkins, his wife,
so what?
who lives in the tax haven of Monaco.
So what?
Well, I mean...
Well, so what? The Lib Dems point out that tax avoidance costs the Exchequer more than benefit fraud.
Yeah, do you know, I avoid tax. I buy ISAs. That's legal tax avoidance in the same way as what he's doing.
We're talking hundreds of millions of pounds.
He's doing nothing illegal. He's one of Britain's most successful entrepreneurs. I'd actually quite like to have him playing a role in government, analysing what's going wrong, because if he runs such a successful business, maybe he can help the government. This is just envy of rich people, basically.
But no, isn't the point being that if his tax was in the British coffers, that we could be helping British people?
He is paying British tax as well.
Well, as little as he possibly can.
What, do you pay any more tax than you can get away with?
Well, I wouldn't give my tax allowance over to my husband and send him off to Monaco.
Well, in your case, I probably wouldn't either.
This article does say that this is the first clear rift between parties in the coalition.
No,
it's not the first.
It's complete and utter rubbish. I mean, this is just... Listen to this. Nick Clegg is understood to be irritated. Who by? No source quoted whatsoever. The first clear rift of the coalition...
That's a bit like you do on your blog, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I could write this completely... But it's on the front page of the Times, for goodness sake. This is not a front-page story.
It also says that Vince Cable was not consulted about the appointment. Should he have been, do you think?
Well, Danny Alexander, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, who's I assumed appointed him, he was consulted because So, I mean, are you going to consult every single Liberal Democrat in the government over everything? They have a system which actually has worked quite well so far, where if there are any disputes, it's referred to a coalition committee. Nick Clegg apparently didn't have a problem with it, which this story says he agreed it.
So a non-story.
A non-story.
No, I'm not. I don't agree it's a non-story. I think it was a bad appointment. And it is interesting that at least the Liberal Democrats have a bit of a conscience on this.
Did your dress come from Topshop?
No, it didn't actually.
No, I know, I could tell.
Did your suit, Ian?
But I do like Topshop.
M&S.
To the inside pages of the Express now, and this is all about Gordon Brown. This is one you've picked out, Ian. He wants quite a lot to speak.
Well, this again is a complete non-story. Prime Minister makes lots of money. Ex-Prime Minister makes lots of money from giving public speeches. I mean, hey, they all do. I don't blame Gordon Brown. He's left office. If he wants to go and make a speech somewhere and charge a lot of money, if someone's foolish enough to pay him, then let them. But he's only going to be paid £60,000 for a speech, whereas Tony Blair was paid £182,000. So maybe it's because Blair was in office 3 times longer than Brown.
But it's maybe a bit more box office, I suppose some people would say.
It's market rates here. John Major gets £30,000, William Hague gets £25,000, Boris Johnson gets £5,000. I'd only charge £1,200.
I won't ask you your
believe me, that's pushing it.
But it does point out that this development flies in the face, it says, of the declaration that he made that he would devote his time to giving money and giving his time to charitable causes. Do you think that he's being slightly hypocritical here, Sally?
No, I don't think he can be expected to spend all his time being an MP and devoting his time to charitable causes. I think if he wants to go out and make some money to secure his future, he's got 2 young children, good luck to him.
His constituents might argue that as he is still an MP, he should be spending all of his time looking after their interests.
Well, like Tory MPs too, like, you know, loads of MPs have second jobs, as you well know.
They do.
I mean, they shouldn't.
Of all parties.
Well, particularly of the Conservative Party. That's a fact.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
No, but it's a fact.
The article also points out that all the proceeds from his book, which is due out in November, is going to go to charity, which I suppose Tony Blair's had a lot of publicity about that.
I think Tony Blair got there first on that one, didn't he?
No,
Tony
Gordon
Blair,
Brown, no,
exactly.
no, Gordon Brown was first.
Was he?
He announced it first, but without quite as much fanfare as Tony Blair, was what I was going to say.
No, but good on Tony Blair too, absolutely.
Now, to The Independent and the Pope, and of course his visit is much anticipated this September, if he can keep awake for it.
Yes, indeed. This is a very funny story about how, obviously, the Pope is coming in September, and officials have scheduled a 3 or 4 hour break every afternoon for him to have a nap.
That's what they do in Italy.
Well, he fell asleep in Malta earlier on in the year, and it was a YouTube hit. I don't know if you saw it in.
Have you been to Malta?
I haven't been to Malta.
Believe me.
I haven't been to Malta.
Oh, no, Ian, we'll get loads of people from Malta emailing in, don't.
It's a lovely
We offended
country.
the good people of Dundee last week.
Yes,
Let's
I
not
heard.
offend the people of Malta as well.
But no, they've scheduled in a 3 or 4 hour nap gap for him every afternoon when he's here for the 3 days.
My only question with this was 3 or 4 hours. That's quite a nap.
It is quite a nap,
full-on
isn't
sleep.
it?
It's not 15 minutes on the sofa, is it? That's 3 or 4 hours is quite substantial. But he is 83, so
He is 83.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a young pope for a change?
it would be lovely.
Have there ever been a young pope? I have no idea, but maybe they should jump a few generations next time.
It'd be nice to have a non-homophobic and...
Let's not go there.
All right.
Yeah, let's not stray into that territory. The article also points out that having a nap does reduce a person's risk of death from heart disease in the middle of the day. So I suppose we should all maybe try and aim for one, maybe.
Very good idea.
Chance would be a fine
Not with
thing.
3 young children. Not very likely.
Preferably not Kay Burley, because otherwise you wouldn't have a programme.
Oh, yes. don't start offending her as well.
No,
You get us all into trouble. Now the Daily Telegraph, finally, and it has a little story at the bottom of the page there. It's not a very big one. You might struggle to see it. Oh, there we go. This 100-yard bus lane, £3.2 million, apparently.
This illustrates everything wrong with the way our public services are run, because you have budgets for financial years, so if you haven't spent your budget by the end of March, you're then encouraged to spend it nevertheless, because otherwise you won't get the money next time and you have to give it back. So Worcestershire County Council are spending £3.2 million of council taxpayers' money on a bus lane that is 100 yards long. Now, it's costing £32,000 a yard. And apparently, according to them, will make public transport more reliable. But they have admitted that if they hadn't spent the money, they'd have had to give it back to the Treasury. I mean, I ask you. And this is going on all over the country. In the NHS, in the Ministry of Defence, in schools, you don't spend your money by the end of the financial year, you don't get it next time. That's got to change.
Shouldn't they be applauded for improving the reliability of public transport?
No.
It's something we should all be encouraged.
No, because it isn't improving.
This is a Conservative council, by the way.
It is, and it's terrible.
It
is absolutely outrageous, and no doubt we'll be getting lots of missives from the Taxpayers Alliance tomorrow with further examples.
But doesn't it seem ludicrous that they can't spend it on something else, that they can't look at the pot in its entirety and say...
Well, this illustrates something else, because this money will no doubt be ring-fenced for a particular budget within that by central government. And what we've got to do is let local government govern locally, and that means they make the decisions on this, not some bureaucrat in Whitehall.
I mean, 3.2 million could have built many playgrounds.
Yeah.
It certainly could,
Would have been scrapped this week.
Or gone to the schools budget.
Oh,
which we've heard
indeed,
so much
absolutely.
about.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Oh, let's go there.
No,
let's go there.
we're out
Let's
of time.
not. We are out of time, Ian Dale and Sally Bercow. Thanks both very much for taking us through your choices. We had some good ones there, and I'm sure we'll see you both again very soon. Thanks very much.
As the fog hangs warily over London,